Awesome. Oh, I see. I'm missing the channel here. I'm gonna join muted.
Rannikkoja. Oliko se 4 tunnin eroa rannikoiden välillä?
I don't understand this language.
Mä en tiedä yhtään tuosta. Mut mä oon jotenkin aina miettinyt.
How's it going?
What's up, homie? No, I just joined and I was like, I don't know this language. Wow, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, so I noticed that you were joining.
Oh, no.
Bye.
What's up, homies? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to intrude. I just saw it was a public lobby. I'm not talking to anybody, so I'm like, hey, let's go say what's up.
It's public. We are currently trying to find a game in the US server.
So,
How about you?
I mean, same. Just searching in the US. I was searching in EU for a little bit because you suggested it, but it was just, I feel like it was taking even longer. Do you guys, I know not everybody has access to all the files, you know, certain companies compartmentalize stuff. Do you guys have access to see how many current active players you guys have, or the average that the total amount that you've had in and at the same time you start building a community that can follow and, you know, comment and view and get a more, probably a better reaction as far as like when you say, hey, alpha weekend January 13th, for example, or whatever. That way you can alert a lot more people visually and audibly, as opposed to just an email that the average person might not even know exists because they weren't checking for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. We were planning to do monthly basis from this around, but the weekly basis might be a good idea. That's
I didn't know about that YouTube algorithm, that it works like that.
Bro, it screws you over, man.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be.
Like, unless your video has that many incoming views per hour and that many comments, that many thumbs up, like, unless it's just like an anomaly of a video and YouTube says, hey, we're making more money sharing this, the average video, if you don't post at least one video per week, YouTube stops sharing it and the growth has to be organic. Only people sharing the videos will create more views. Like, YouTube stops recommending it at, like, you know, that little tab in the corner, like recommended videos. Like, a lot of views comes from just like, hey, this is the video that automatically plays next, or this is a video on the side that interested me. It was the third one down. I clicked on it. Like, YouTube stops putting your videos there if you don't post once a week.
Yeah,
it's mind-boggling.
It is. And thanks for reminding us. It's basically when you're basically putting all your time developing the game, business stuff, you forgot these important marketing stuff.
I mean, it happens.
In the
road. Nobody's perfect, but if you guys don't have a person that has like that marketing mindset 24/7, I definitely recommend, even if it's just a buddy that loves playing the game and you literally just like, all right, you know, we'll call you the marketing manager, like, and, you know, maybe down the road, long way, you know, just come up with some sort of verbal agreement that if the game's successful, at that point we can talk about the future of you in the game or whatnot. But just, you know, like, find somebody that at all times, for every choice that you guys do, just brings up that question. Well, how are people going to perceive that? How are, you know, is that the best choice that we could do? Is that, you know, that voice of reason on the marketing side, so to speak? Like, I'm sure you guys probably have like a buddy or something like that could probably do that within your own community already. But just like officially assign them that role, so it always gets kept up with, so to speak, you know?
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been working on the game? Since I got you guys here, you know, just chatting.
It has been a long journey. I think we started Kingshunt back in 2017 or 18.
Basically, we started in the 2016, but there was this time frame when we had to do some other projects, so it was on the ice like 6 months, I think. But yeah, then we had to do those remakes 3 times because the server systems changed and so many things happened.
Yeah. Some lessons learned from that journey. But yeah, overall, this current state of the game, we made it in 1 year, and we're super excited to finally show where the game is in current state. We had really big plans to do like 100-player matches where you can take part of this really big match where are multiple 5 versus 5 matches happening in the same landscape. We have big plans and visions for that, but we decided to focus on building the minimum viable game and continue growing from there. And this is basically you are playing right now. Minimum content to play and have fun. And this is just the first step to go to market. And end of this year we will focus on building the game, and early next year we will focus on expanding to different markets. And
And that makes
Of
sense.
course, consoles
Taking baby
are-
steps.
Yeah. We are only 10 people strong team from Finland, and we are backed by industry veterans from really well-known companies, but
Mm-hmm.
still,
You
it's
got
a
proper
long
funding and
journey to
stuff,
take.
but it still takes time. Now you brought up a good point.
It's
Now console gamers make up a huge population of the casual gamers and increase numbers like crazy. Now,
Yeah,
like anybody that has even dove into game development knows that that's probably more to like at least considering the state of the game, considering you're reaching alpha on PC, you're probably conservatively a year or two or more from any possible alpha on PlayStation. But so my question is, if we're talking about PlayStation players, and you have all these ambitions for down the road and whatnot, how are you going to, like, what's your goal to get the PC players here so you can collect enough data to then move on towards those other markets?
basically, currently at least, we're focusing on the Xbox side, which is easier platform to continue growing. And all the data we get from the PC players help us to build the game, get the balance right, get the controls right, because the game is quite complex at first, and learning that and explaining that it's the key. You can have the fun just playing and slashing and using the abilities, but when you really want to invest your time to learn all the strategies,
What's up, old guy?
builds, etc., then the game really gets exciting. Yeah, I don't know, did I answer the question correctly, but
No, you're
yeah,
okay.
we are expanding.
So
But we are learning during this time.
So I know it was actually very well handled, before the alpha weekend, the whole, hey, you know what, we're actively communicating with people. We have our press release kit. You guys are going to be able to get this video early on the gameplay video to try and generate some more hype around it and stuff like that. All that was actually very, very well handled. My
Thanks.
my curiosity is the quote unquote like press kit that we got, because that's technically what it is. The press kit that we got with like gameplay and stuff like that. People like let's use IGN for example. They had previous gameplay. Did I'm assuming you guys submitted that new gameplay video and stuff like that to them, and that's how it ended up on their website, right?
Yeah, basically, you need to reach out to these guys because, as you know, there's
They're big,
hundreds of different games. Yeah, they are hammered with new games all the time. So it's all about the connection, and it also depends on the guy who is reviewing your content. Is it good enough for the platform? And at least for now, our game is good enough for IGN and all the big press sites, and we are now talking with them to do different things in the near future. So there is something coming soon. I can't reveal anything yet.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, we are working hard on that side.
Did you guys get a chance to talk to them about doing that gameplay overview? Them actually posting that?
Yeah, that's in work in progress.
Okay. Because that is definitely like, I know that them posting your video was definitely huge, and like 136,000. Even if just like 1% of those people came by, you're still getting a ton of people coming in and being introduced. Have you guys had a chance to actually go through some of the top, the top like comments on that YouTube video on their IGN?
Yeah. Internet is so bad. it's a tough place.
Yeah, I know they're
Yeah.
rough and everything.
Yeah, you know the thrill.
Like they're
Yeah,
gonna have like zero remorse. They're gonna go hard on you guys always, and you're never gonna be able to make everybody happy. That's just a fact.
Yeah, I don't really care at some point. But yeah, it's hard to filter the good stuff from there. There's really good comments, really good stuff where we can learn, but there's also really a lot of stuff that it doesn't really matter. They are just putting that out that they don't really think about. But yeah, that was our first, I think, mistake to releasing it that early. Time frames, everything. We are not super proud of that video, but it's out. It made some buzz, at least for the gameplay overview. People are excited that the game is really well. It's better than the release trailer.
Yeah, I'm really waiting what people are going to comment when the IGN is going to release our video into YouTube. Hopefully, we get lots more likes this time.
No, like if you think about it, even the official reveal trailer was not a bad video. At least, like, you know, for posting like on your YouTube, right? But it definitely was probably a caution to post a video of an upcoming game that isn't finished on a platform where people are used to seeing finished games.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that backlash a little bit there, and you can still come back from it, right? Like show them something better down the road, etc. But
Yeah.
we really do live in a day and age where unless you just wow people, like it could be everything as simple as customer service in a restaurant, or it could be a game development. Unless you just blow somebody's mind, they're going to consider amazing work standard work. You get me? Like people are just spoiled to the point that it doesn't matter how good you do, you're supposed to be doing that good. You're making a game.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a
Yeah.
AAA studio, basically.
Yeah, like in their eyes, everybody's a AAA studio basically, and they're gonna judge you as such. So it really is one of those things that, like, for example, one thing that you guys did great was you guys showed the demigod dashing back and forth, fighting with a minion, and posted that clip on Twitter. That was a really, really good clip. Not because you were showing off the mechanics, so to speak, but because you were highlighting something that's unique to your game and that you did well. You follow? And it's one of those things that, hey, I'm not going to show you 100% of the picture just so you like 10%. I'm going to show you the 10% you like 100% of the time. And that's going to generate better buzz. You follow?
Exactly. We learned that. And
like
we will focus on.
Yeah, you guys, I've been keeping up with like your Twitter updates and stuff like that, and you guys honestly did a great job as far as Twitter. You generated some good buzz, you know, like AMD retweeting and stuff like that. I just really think that same sort of mentality and the short clip, the same thing that's being applied in those short clips should be applied on the YouTube side on a more regular basis, so that whenever people see the YouTube, because here's the thing, quite frankly, the viewer retention on Twitter is incredibly low, and on YouTube it's not much better. So if you can generate some good buzz and get some good retweets on Twitter, then you need to kind of like double down on that on YouTube and learn how to make that within 5 to 10 minutes, because you don't want too many people clicking off of your video. The more of the video they watch, the more likely YouTube is going to recommend another one, right? Do you guys have like a ton of these clips that you could make like let's say like a 3 to 4 minute video just highlighting little events like that?
Yeah. We have currently a quite big library in reserve for content, and yeah, and I think we need to think about really the YouTube stuff, what we're gonna show, uh, and we will do like developer reviews, developer walkthroughs, as to speak.
Yeah,
As
like
we go further.
yeah, because if you start advertising like it's like if you start advertising with that mindset of this is a business, then the organic response just comes in after the fact. Like I'm looking right now, like the whole ray tracing on, and you guys showing how great the map looks with the reflections and everything. Literally just a 1 minute video of the camera going through and highlighting certain areas with ray tracing, and not a single word gets said on YouTube. People will be like, "Well, goddamn, this is a pretty looking map. This honestly isn't bad." Like, you get me? Show it off at its best, even though, quite frankly, like 97% of the population isn't going to be able to play with ray tracing on because their PC won't be able to handle it. But you're showing the potential not only that the studio can do, but this is what we got this is what we've made, and look at how hard we worked on it. Like, again, just that 10%, 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I don't mean to come up in here and like start telling you guys what to do. I just get passionate about things, my bad. I could be that way.
No. It's super fine, and it's good to hear opinions on things, and especially because you're in the different front of content creation, and you have learned the mistakes in that side. I think you have. So
Yeah, just trial and error.
yeah, it's all about that. All about that.
The only difference is if I do trial and error as a content creator, I can always bounce back from it a lot easier than a game developer can. Because the one thing that probably ties you guys most to your community and that hangs in a balance is trust with the community.
Yep.
Like too many incidents that breach on that trust or the belief, that support that you get, can easily just get somebody to stop trusting you, stop believing you. It's not like me on the content creator side where I can make a video, people might not like it. Next week I make a new video, they'll like that one. Everything's back to normal.
Yeah, they will forget anyway. Yeah, that's something. But this is the first step, and we are still reaching out to players and expanding the audience. And that's the road we need to take.
Is this game on Steam? Yes. Anybody that wants a key, DM me on Discord. I will give you a key.
Are you guys waiting in the USA or EU side currently?
When I go to rules, you got 107 legacy testers. You got those 4 honors, so let's just say 111 legacy testers. You got 252 online, so that's 363.
One thing. How did you like the Predecessor?
It was fun. I've been involved in Predecessor's progress behind the scenes already for like almost a year and a half, 2 years. Like the major difference right now that they did with this upcoming weekend, as opposed to the last alpha weekend that they had, was an expansion of content. And that's something that I told them from the beginning. Like, it's one of those things that you could tell that from the beginning that they were focusing on quality, animations, smoothness, gameplay feel, so to speak. But they were really lacking on the content side. And it was one of those things that they had to catch up a little bit on the content so they don't fall behind to other competitors, so to speak. but it was going to come with a caveat that adding more content means you're going to add more bugs, you're going to add more instability, you're going to add more performance issues, and you're going to add just a whole lot of headache for you. So everything's running smooth so far from what I've seen. Like, you know, there's gripes here and there, but I think that, you know, I give them their feedback. I think that they still need to implement a little bit more diversity. And that goes for any Paragon remake out there. Because at the end of the day, as long as they maintain a Paragon remake, that's going to be their downfall, because every single person that plays with the mindset of Paragon is just going to expect Paragon. They're going to expect the characters that they were used to. They're going to expect the map they were used to, item systems that they were used to. And if they come in, it's like saying, I'm expecting League of Legends when I play Smite. That's not going to be a happy day for me. You get me? I'm going to be lost as shit. I don't know what to build. I'm going to think I know what I'm doing, and then I'm going to get shit on the entire day. And it leads to a negative gamer experience. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They need to individualize themselves as much as possible, as quick as possible. Even if it's just simple ways. Even if it's just, hey, you know what? By next alpha, they change one of the standard minion camps to now this little spider-looking minion camp. Or hey, the next alpha, they changed it so the wave, the outside lanes are now 15% bigger. Just to see how that affects the gameplay, and slowly but surely like get away from the Paragon mindset and establish their game as Predecessor. Because if they go to full release and they're still known as a Paragon remake, they're in big trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And you just can't beat 100 man studio who tried to make Paragon. Yeah, originally.
It's like I tell people like this. I saw your message, by the way. I'll cue into you. I put it to people this way, because a lot of times when you talk in business jargon, some might understand, but it can easily be misunderstood. But when you personalize something, a lot of people will understand it better. That's like me telling you, hey, you're about to meet let's say a new girl that's potentially could be your wife. But as soon as you go in, the first introduction is, hey, that's Katie's ex-husband. How does that already set up the field for you? It doesn't paint a good picture at all.
Nope.
At all. So then why is it that every time you introduce yourself, you're introducing yourself, or you're making it's like, hey, I'm my own person, but I just want to let you know in this resume, it says I'm Katie's ex-husband. Does that make sense when you put it that way? The answer is no.
It does.
Well, it makes sense when I explain it, but it doesn't make sense why somebody would do it.
Yeah, of course.
And then when I tell you now, okay, same exact scenario. I'm Predecessor.
Windu.
I'm Fault. I'm Overprime.
Windu. We are in game.
I know. I got 10 seconds. Woosah. I got 10 seconds. I see a timer. We're good. So that's a big feedback that I have for them in all the remakes. And like, for example, like I like the fact that this project started with Epic Assets. I like the fact that you guys have created your own assets. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things that I hate to use culinary terms because I used to be in culinary like crazy. It's one of those things like, hey, you might have the best flour in the business, but you still need the rest of the ingredients to make a cake. And that's why like releasing information or a video to IGN a little bit too soon might have been more detrimental, because you guys showed you got the best flour, you guys showed you got decent eggs, but then the rest of the ingredients, some people just started nitpicking at it, like, that vanilla flavor isn't there, or oh, you know what, I hate the frosting that they use on the cake. Because that's just a general consumer experience. The consumers are going to sit there and say, hey, this is what's wrong. They're not going to point out all the little things that are right. And for every one, and like in a restaurant business, for every one person that complains, you got 27 individuals that are never coming back to your restaurant. Because I used to be involved in the restaurant business before I went into insurance. And it's just one of those mind-blowing statistics that you look at it, you think about it, and you're like, damn, if one person complained, there's 27 people that I didn't hear about that are just never going to try my business again. How can we change that number? How can we progress from there? All these things start kicking into vector. And there is no easy answer. It's just like we were talking about, trial and error. See what you can do, improve on certain areas, and keep going from there. Hold on, I'm in the middle of a fight. Now I gotta try and focus and talk. Welcome to the life of a streamer. Hi. But yeah. So, you guys mind me asking? This is a little bit more on the personal question side, right? How many of you guys have experience in business before creating a game? Like, would you say, like, out of the staff of 10, how many of you have experience leading or let's say being heads in a business, like somebody with a big influence?
I'm the only one really having the experience on that side. But of course, I'm still learning this business side. But of course, that's what has been really good in this field, is that many of the game dev people are really good to helping out the fellow devs. And at least for Finland, we have really good community here. And we have investors who are really talented guys. They are built big companies back in Finland and Russia, and it's
got it. So you have like
we have people who can ask things, basically.
Yeah, like mentors, so to speak, that you can always go to and ask for advice and stuff like that. Gotcha.
Yeah, advisors, yes.
So, I mean, I'll be like, that's a really, really good thing to hear from somebody that, you know, just as a message to the community. Like, even if you say, hey, you know what, we're new, we're learning, like, that's fine. People are going to understand that. But as soon as you say, hey, even though we're learning, we have a lot of people with experience helping us become better. And we're always open to feedback, you know what I mean? Like, even just public service announcements like that can go a long way as to getting more support, even.
Yep.
You like the looks of this game? Yeah, Lolo. I mean, the essential concept of this game is that you're taking a tower defense game, you're making it a 5v5 PvP, and then you're adding kind of mobile elements, because it is one of those things that, you know, you got to destroy the core. You got towers in the way. In this case, you don't necessarily have to destroy them, but you definitely benefit from destroying towers and objectives that are in the way. So it's a genre of game that is definitely worth investing into and supporting. The concern is just, will the feedback be implemented quick enough, is what I would say, quite frankly. And that's just going to come down to manpower versus filtering the feedback. And kind of like we were talking a few minutes ago, guys, how everybody has an opinion, but it doesn't mean it's a worthwhile opinion, quite frankly. Like, I tell people all the time, and this is something that my college professor taught me, everybody's got an opinion, but unless you provide constructive feedback as to how to fix something that's wrong, it's just a whiny ass opinion. Unless you actually provide good feedback to help the game better itself, you're not doing constructive criticism. You're just doing negative opinions that aren't helping anybody. My bad, guys. I'm doing the whole talking like crazy again. I'll mute myself for the next one.
Yeah, talking head.
How do I play this game? DM me right now. I'll get you a key on Steam so you can play it. Alright, so this is an EU. Is there any way I can tell my ping? Or is that my ping on the top left? Under my KDS? Okay, so I'm at 190.
Tower. Come back.
I see it. Ah, this thing is so fucking beefy.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, I had to get a few items before I could actually start hitting towers. Sorry. Actually get my reactive armor back. Another tower up here. Yeah, man. Attacking right now is probably one of the hardest things I've had to do in a game in a while, to be honest. So, out of curiosity, as far as balance of the game goes, do you guys have like an individual that's like in charge of like the balance mechanics of the game, or is it just something that's kind of like determined amongst like you guys as a community, as like developers? You guys just vote on it? How does that go?
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said for the last 10 seconds.
Oh, my bad. So as far as balance goes, do you guys have like an individual that's like in charge of balancing mechanics in the game and stuff like that? Or do you guys have... Yes. Okay, got it. So there is one person that kind of has like the final say in it. It's not like community driven, or like you guys vote on it as developers.
Yeah, there's one guy who's the game designer and he decides these.
Got it. And then as far as is a feedback system just like a general feedback system, like submit it, it goes into a list and you guys just read it one at a time?
Yeah, we read all those.
I wish I would be able to like talk to like that one person like in charge of like the balance stuff, just to kind of ask like why there's certain things that are a certain way. Because like me and a buddy were talking earlier, and I feel like a lot of some detriment that comes to a lot of these games that are upcoming is the fact that they make a balance change based on the future of the game. They're like, oh, well, just wait until we add another lane, or wait until they go to this map, everything will make sense. And it's one of those things that, well, for now for like 3 months, it's not going to make sense. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense when I explain it that way?
It does, but it's all about the big picture. When you have some vision you are going for, and you know that you need to have these things there, it to work properly.
On the big picture.
Yeah, on the big picture. But I understand your point.
So,
at least for us, basically for Kingshunt, you have the main things here, main pillars, and we are adjusting these and levels and etc. Of course, make it better. And if you want to talk the designer, I'm happy to do it for you. So you can ask the questions and what's the challenging, and challenge the designer also to think differently, because it's always good to have different opinions on things. And
I'd be down to
but
just
the
have a
main
nice
mission-
chat.
Yeah. I know you will, and I know you want. But yeah,
Yeah, because I totally
That's
get
the
it.
case.
Like the big picture, and you still got to have the goal. There's certain mechanics that you do want in the game. But that's why I was asking about the balancing of the swords, because you can still have certain mechanics in there for the larger picture, but then just quite simply adjust the values for now so it makes sense in a smaller picture. And then as you expand, adjust the values as it expands as well. Because there are a lot of things right now, like I agree, like in a bigger picture, it would make a ton of sense. Certain values, like, barrier health and stuff like that. But when you consider a smaller picture, you just kind of sit there and you just can't help but ask yourself, like, well, why is that this specific way? Like, why did they decide to add this mechanic and have it do that much?
yeah. And if you think like this is our first alpha, we have noticed that there's things that doesn't really work that we decided designing those to work. So we have to come to the design board to design things differently.
Yeah,
to make it
there's
work
always things to
properly.
learn for sure.
Yeah. And it's all about trial. And we know. Yeah,
We've been doing only technical tests so far, like is the servers holding and so on. So this is actually the first time we are getting the feedback from the bigger audience. So that will affect, of course, how we need to balance things. Because we couldn't know how this play out in the bigger crowd.
Yeah, it's true. With more people,
Yeah,
you're gonna
I
get
know.
way more feedback. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and we are really surprised how good players are. I have to say that I have been surprised many times that how really well the teams play together and how they do different strategies. And that's actually what we wanted to bring, and that's why we made the Kingshunt, that we wanted to have those strategies. We didn't really want to focus on the basic MOBA, mid lane, jungle, these things, which are really
Just-
well known to
Just doing everything with a
everyone.
twist, so to speak.
Yeah, and if you play like your first MOBA game, it's really challenging, it's really difficult, and it's really hard for the new players, as anyone knows. And what we are basically try to do here is that you have the choice of doing different things in this match, and the opposing team needs to react that. So this is basically our first game mode, the Guardian Assault, and we are thinking of doing different game modes to players to play around.
Yeah, I
Be
mean,
a bot game.
Yeah. And tutorials and these things are not implemented yet, and those will come eventually.
yeah, the issue with a bot game is just the implementing the AI, as far as that goes, because Lord knows we've all seen some pretty janky AI at times.
It's a tough question to solve.
Yeah, but we can pretty easily make just only defense mode or only attack mode, where you can practice how to defend or how to attack. So we don't even need to simulate players.
Hey, if you guys are watching my screen, I'm assuming this is a bug, right? Oh, never mind. Now it can be
That's
heard.
a lock.
They lock the tower. So you
Oh.
Yeah, it needs a better feedback.
So as far as like, like visual, like VFX and everything, like again, there's like a lead person on that if you want to give VFX feedback to, they're the ones that handle all that.
Yep. It's something that the like quality of life stuff and UX and everything, we are working on that. This is like a first, how do I say, first test of UI and feedback and everything, and now we know what we need to do next.
So out of curiosity, how have you guys been like managing the feedback? Do you guys like find it like a bit overwhelming? Like you didn't, like, is it like about expected? Do you wish you had more feedback?
I think overall the feedback has been pretty good. There haven't been like too much of it, so we can analyze all the feedback and have a meeting and go through basically all of the feedback so far. But of course, after this alpha, there might be way more feedback than the previous tests
Than you've had before.
So yeah, but we try to go through all, at least the like main points.
Yeah. But to summarize that, there's really much feedback that we already know that we couldn't fix for this alpha, and we will work on that after this.
I gotcha. So there was like a set date that you guys set yourself that you were trying to stick with.
Yeah, and it's all about those deadlines. We want to do this test quite early. We want to test things because we weren't really sure about the whole Guardian Assault game mode, building, basically how players are understanding that we need to build, we need to destroy these towers. We're testing these major things now, and we're learning to do those better and communicate that to the players also, the better way.
Yeah, and also we have pretty detailed analytics coming up, so we can see all the kills and assists and
Damage.
yeah, tower kills and who won and how long the phase 1 took and which side won more matches and so on. We will get all of those, so that will help out a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that the defenders are making more wins.
What the hell? She just disappeared? Oh, that's awkward. Is she dead? Wow, that was weird. Yeah, as we were talking about, like more players, you're definitely gonna get more analytics. You'll be able to balance better and stuff like that. I guess the biggest obstacle right now is just to get more players in here, right?
Yeah.
You said on Discord, what is this? This is Kingshunt. It's basically a tower defense game and a MOBA had a baby, right? Now, if you guys want to play, I got plenty of keys. Just DM me on Discord and I'll give you keys.
Now that we have done the base game, all the like the meta game, rune systems, and building towers and so on, it's going to be much easier to iterate, change things and so on, because we don't have to like reprogram everything from the scratch anymore.
Yeah, it's basically polishing things.
Yeah, like
That's true. It's going to be a lot easier. Just
make more. Yeah, making more runes or new heroes and towers, it's gonna be much faster than these four heroes we are using now.
oh man. Hey guys, anybody that's watching, I do have devs on the call right now. So any questions, anything like that you want me to ask, let me know. I got you. I don't mind. was kind of poggers. Nice rock. Alright, so what's the best approach here? Because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't want to tank all that damage.
Don't take that.
Oh.
Just wait
never mind.
minions.
He just focused me.
If you're talking about attacking the Guardian,
I was about to say,
the
like,
idea is that
go ahead.
you don't attack any players because the Guardian won't start attacking you unless you're the only
Unless you
person.
draw the aggro.
Yeah.
Now, what was the purpose of creating a Guardian over, you know, like, let's say like a traditional tower defense where it's just like a point that minions are trying to get through, or, you know, like you're trying to destroy.
Because it felt boring.
It's boring to hit a rock or a stone or tree. We wanted to have something which is unique also, and which can also protect himself. Example, if you play Predecessor or Paragon or anything, the cores are pulsing this damage around him. So basically, it's defending themselves, but they're not doing anything. So Guardian is basically a core which is defending himself, but he also moves and etc.
Oh man, I know this guy is so mad at me. I'm chasing this man till the end of the year just to kill him.
Also, we were planning to like make different types of Guardians, like phase 1, different Guardian to the phase 2.
Oh, like alternating guardians, so to speak?
Yes.
Okay, just to show more variety. I can see that.
Yes. Yeah, and just basically tell a story of this place, why these guys are protecting this center of this castle.
The green orbs around the map are health. TS.
Only 2 minutes left. We need to push now.
Got a lot of people over here. Oh, they just mowed me down. They're all on the right side. Rip. No, but one of the reasons why I was asking earlier about the, you know, like who's the person that makes like those balance changes decisions, because you guys know, like for example, like in a in a traditional MOBA, and I say this because I know that's not the objective. In a traditional MOBA, the core does equal amount of damage to the minions, unless you're talking about League of Legends. In that case, there's 2 towers defending the core. But typically, the minion damage is either pretty dispersed or focused on one individual, and it does quite a bit of damage, right? And it's just like one hits every minion as it goes on until the entire minion wave is cleared. But the minions can still do adequate damage. But right now, like say for example here, what was it called? The creature that's the core? Sorry, I forget the terminology.
Guardian or
the Guardian, there you go. But in this case, the Guardian, I can have a full wave that's at full health, walk up to the Guardian. He first Superman punches the front line, basically one hitting them, And then if he does get at any point surrounded by minions, he just does this AoE blast that just wipes out all minions. Like, I was playing several matches where me and a buddy were just at the core staring at the attacking team, trying to take down the Guardian, not even defending. And multiple times we saw that they came in with a bunch of minions. The Guardian 2-hit their entire wave. And now the players were just there either getting killed by the Guardian because the Guardian's a million times more powerful than anybody else. Or they were just like, okay, let's wait till the next wave. And if defenders actually try, defenders can easily destroy the wave of minions, just quite literally preventing the attackers from ever getting in and doing any real damage, because you need the minions to do so. That's why it's one of those things where you just can't help but sit here and be like, well, I wonder why the Guardian does so much damage. I wonder why he has a focused targeting and then an AoE targeting on top of that, and they're both really, really strong. Like, basically wipe out the minion wave. I wonder why, if he does so much damage, does he have so much health? It's almost like they put a raid boss at the end of this, and then they tell you, hey, we don't got enough minions or players to defeat this raid boss. Come back 37 times in a row. Like, when you put it like that and you start thinking, you know?
Yeah, I know. That's the known issue currently. Example, you expect the minions to take a couple more punches when you buff minions, but they just can't take any hits from the Guardian. They are basically one hit. That's the main thing. They just can't take any hits. Currently, if really experienced, example, Enchantress player, she can actually take the Guardian by herself, by basically killing it Guardian by just firing and dodging and etc. He can do it. That's
really liking the pace of the game from what you watched.
I'm
glad you're liking it, Kalan.
Tough question, and we are working on the Guardian, and we know that there is issues there.
Yeah, but the B point actually, the sub point could actually fix the issue. Like, once you are at the Guardian, you could just, okay, fine, we got all the time now, go to kill that point, whatever it is, and gain a buff that will last like 2 minutes, and then you can easily take the Guardian down.
Yeah, but it doesn't really solve the whole problem.
So, I mean, there could easily be a way that's a more long-term solution for it, but you're still able to keep things in a very similar, even metrics that you have right now. Like, for example, like, it's like if you were to change those temporary buffs to a smaller permanent buff that only lasts that one round, and at the next round it gets reset. Like, for example, if you were to do an armor buff, let's say a 0.1 multiplier on the minion's armor, and you just spent, how much is it? Like, I want to say it's 1 cost for that much. So you essentially, to double the minion armor, somebody would have to spend 10 points, which is a lot of points being spent towards that. You get me? But by the time you spend 10 points doing so, you're already, 10 minutes into the game? So 10 minutes into the game, your minions have double the armor, and you're able to progress forward. You get what I'm saying there?
Yeah, the match progression.
Yeah, like, so everybody would know, and that would be more it probably will feel more like a MOBA in that case, as to the sense that, hey, early game, we know it's not going to do much, the minions aren't going to do much damage. But by the time we progress, by the time we increase with the attack buffs, the minion, the armor buffs, late game, like, hell, like right around that 13-14 minute mark, these minions are going to hit hard. That's when we do our push. And the same thing on the defending side. At that point, you know, hey, it's the last 2 minutes of the game, they're going to be pushing hard. We need to be focusing on these minions. It'll add a whole nother sense of strategy to it.
Yeah, and exactly, and the time is ticking.
Now as well,
we need to push this.
Another thing could be, instead of just, if you don't want to do that and you still want to keep just temporary buffs, you could do the other side of the coin and do permanent minion upgrades. Like, if you pay the 8 coins for a flag bearer, which is expensive, let that flag bearer spawn every single time in that lane. So that way it becomes difficult for the defenders to be able to actually do stuff. But then the buffs are temporary. You don't do both of them because you're just creating then minions that are too OP. But either or could easily balance out this, you know, defensive heavy meta and be able to actually make more of a difference.
Yeah, I think like in the long term, it would be better to have like the buffs that are permanent, because we have been thinking that the minions, they are not like let's say banner minion. It's useless at the point when you don't have any towers. So if we have minions that are only good in the early game, then it would be like too many minions like that do nothing. It would be just like chaos. So that's why I don't think that would be a good idea.
I'm about to die here. Hold on, give me a second. Just running for my life, don't mind me. So I'm sorry, I kind of missed part of that because I was like in the middle of a fight. I apologize. So you were saying that you think it's better for the long-term permanent buff because keeping a permanent minion per wave can eventually lead to too many minions, which... Yeah, you were saying that you don't think it's a good idea?
Most likely, yeah, because there are minions that only work in the one part of the game. Like let's say the banner minion, which is going to be useless at the point when you don't have any towers against you. So then there would be like 7 banner minions patrolling there and doing nothing.
Well, wouldn't that then come more along the plays of strategy if you decide to do that? Like, you know what, we shouldn't be investing in too many banner minions because it'll lead to that result? Like 2-3 banner minions max? You get me?
Yeah, but if you could take out that banner minion, like if you buy it once, then it will always spawn each time when there's a wave. It would be way too many like banner minions for the whole game.
I get you. So it would be one of those things that if it gets added permanently, there would have to be a cap. Like, let's say, hey, maximum, like, once a lane has a banner minion attached to it, you can't attach another banner minion, but that banner minion is now permanent.
Yes.
So then from there, you can consider, hey, well, you know what? This wave got added the ogres. Now those ogres are permanent, but ogres can't be added to that lane anymore. So now you actually can sit there and focus as a team on consistently doing temporary buffs. You follow? That's what I'm saying, like either or, not doing both. Then you can sit there as a team and focus on adding temporary buffs to the already permanent minions. There's many ways it can go, and again, this also depends on the short-term and then long-term vision of the game. Because some of these changes might make sense short-term, but they might not long-term. But it doesn't mean that they can't be changed to make a better experience short-term, and then later long-term achieve the vision and change things again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's probably something that we could do, like a A/B testing. So we implement both, test them out, and see which one was better.
Yeah, that's internal stuff. Anyway.
Yeah.
Can I explain the coin system for the towers, etc. a little bit? All right, so as you play, as you progress, for example, dealing damage to operators and player kills, I'm about to die here. Hold on. As you progress, you get 2 sorts of currency. One currency is to level up your character. Another currency is to level up either your units if you're attacking or your structures as you're defending. Now, for example, I just summoned one of these flag bearers, which is this guy here with the shield and the flag. He blocks projectiles. I use my points that I earned throughout the game to summon him to make the wave stronger, right? While meanwhile, I got 7 points here to spend in order for me to get tankier, for example. I'm going to build some tank. So now I got armor added. There we go. Now I got armor added, and I'm buffing my character. So there's 2-point currencies that you earn, and how you earn them, we'll say it on the left-hand side, which is actually right behind here where I'm at. If anybody does want to play, let me know. DM me on Discord. As soon as the match is over, I'll send you a key. And how long did I have to wait for a game? So the player base is small right now, but that's why I'm also kind of trying to help them out and trying to get the player base to grow, get more people in here, just so we can actually get more games and they can get more data. Oh, they locked it. What a bastard. Damn, I'm getting melted. Sorry, I was over here talking to the stream. Were you guys able to hear me? Or no?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, rip. I was trying to mute myself. Probably because I'm running at full screen. Is the alpha this weekend only? Yes, it is only just for this weekend. There you go. Is there a lock-on technique like For Honor? There isn't, but that would be an interesting mechanic to add. Some sort of lock-on feature where if you're fighting with somebody, like a targeting system, like your camera's focused on that individual. That would be interesting, but I don't know. I don't particularly.
Yeah, what do you think about that?
Like my feedback on that would be like, yeah, like it's an interesting mechanic, but the issue is if you have a lock-on mechanic that allows you to lock onto a specific character, you're then forgetting the entire focus and the objective of the game itself, which is to push. At that point, you're almost forcing the game to be a brawler when it shouldn't be. Like I would rather keep the free camera, let you make all these independent decisions and go from there, instead of having you lock onto a character or go from character to character. Like if you're trying to make it, because I know you guys were saying Dark Souls like combat, if you're trying to focus on the combat aspect of it, it's not a bad idea. But I almost feel like it would deter people from the actual objective of the game to have a lock-on camera.
Yeah, it will alienate some of the players, but at least for if you think like console players, they tend to expect that feature from this kind of game, because at least
that's true.
When you play, if you're playing a controller, playing
it probably makes it a little easier.
Yeah, because shooting is not that super easy when the character is moving super fast in front of you. It's not easy. But yeah, that's something to discuss. But at least for now, we are focusing on the free movement, and you need to aim to hit.
I do have Kingshunt keys. If anybody wants a key, just DM me on Discord. I don't feel a specific way towards it. It could be a manual lock-in. You can play the whole game in free cam if you wanted to. I mean, it's definitely an option. If it gets implemented as an option, you can choose it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. So those individuals that want to use it can.
Yeah.
What would be interesting is if the individuals that do choose to use it, let's say there are no heroes around, it'll lock them onto a tower or the closest objective with which they should be focusing on. That would actually be very beneficial for new players, even.
Yeah. Yeah, it's also easier for the melee characters to fight.
Oh, I just realized I'm in a 1v5. Is that what it said? Why does it say that? Or are there actually people here still?
I think they rage quit.
Yeah.
I'm actually in a 1v5. Well then.
Yeah, you are. Have fun.
Hey man. 1v5 me, bro. Where you at? I think y'all scare me? Let's go. If I was demigod, I think I'd actually stand a chance at killing some of y'all. Oh, that's rude. What are you doing back here? Dang, they don't honor the 1v1, right? Hold on, let's do this.
Yeah. I guess we played too hard this time around.
Maybe, I don't know. Where do you need to sign up for a Kingshunt key? Just message me on Discord. If you don't know my Discord, type ! Discord in the chat. You'll get a link. Find my name on there. Send me a message. LOL. You guys are still putting barriers when it's just me? What the hell? There's a fresh barrier right here.
You still have keys left?
Yes, I'm trying to give as many as possible out, and as soon as I run out, I have no problem asking for some, to be honest.
Good.
I'm about to get some of these out. Here in a second. Lolo message me and send my key. There we go. Ay, ay, ay. 1v5. Later. new player onboarding is always a rough subject because you got to consider tutorials, you got to consider, you know, like educating, because one of the most expensive things in business is to spend time and resources to try and educate somebody, and they still might not capture it, right?
Yep, exactly. That's the main thing, the new player experience.
Oh, look at these guys all rushing through here. We have 2 healers. Oh snap. I just got pulled. No, I'm stuck in the wall. Nice. I do this. I already got a point. Reactive armor. Let's go. Who's got another one? Okay.
What is thy bidding, my master?
See, I'll tell you though, like that is one of those things that, quite frankly, might not ever be perfect. Probably won't ever be like fully solved. Churro, thank you for the gifted subs, bro. Like that might be something that might never ever really be solved, just simply based on the fact that everybody learns in different ways, right? So
Yeah, of course, but to make the one thing that make it as simple as fuck. It's the plan to make it.
Yeah, but hard to master.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to be pro, you need to learn. But get the game running, get the player excited. That's the first step. Get the first 5 games to be fun. That's when the first 5 games are fun, then we have like successful early player experience.
Yeah, and I think now it's like after the 5 games, the game is fun.
Yeah, exactly. You really need to learn the game to be fun. But first of all, I'm really happy about all the players who are giving the feedback and everything, because there's really good feedback and really good comments, and I'm happy that they are excited about the game.
Is there, in the beginning of these matches, is there some sort of notification that says, like, you know, for defenders, it says build towers and barricades and protect your guardian? Like, just something that simple. Is there something that says that in this game?
I think there's the press F to build towers whenever you can do that. But yeah, of course there could be some more information.
Like I get, like, you know, like little, like because what we are referring to more is more of a hint in the game to help you play the game better. But what I'm referring to is more like an objective, like when you start the match, even just an audible cue that says, you know, defend your tower or defend your guardian at all costs. And then literally on the screen it says press F to build towers and barricades. You get what I'm saying? Like, so people just know what the objective of the game is.
Yeah.
Or I'm trying to think, or maybe like or like attackers, maybe even like as soon as you start the match, it'll tell you, like, you know, like add minion, like somewhere along the lines of add minions to your waves to make it easier to destroy the guardian. And then individuals might also be like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should be adding more minions to these waves. Like, the average person that plays might look at little things like that and be like, bro, we do that already. It's super basic. Like, everybody knows how to do that. But I feel like there might be a lot of new coming players that just look at it and they're like, well, I didn't even know that you could do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of when you start the game, you have the character you need to learn, you have the abilities you need to learn, You have dodge, you can sprint. These things take time to learn. Then you figure out, oh, I can build towers. I need to learn about that. And then I have runes. So these systems you need to learn. How do you take those steps? It's crucial to us to basically learn the path. How do I explain the players how to play the game? So maybe at least for first timers there could be a builds, layouts, different things to tend to start the game first, and then explaining the first core of the game, the building and the summoner elements. But it's tough to explain.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that could also be easily summarized in like just a quick little, like, you know, forced tutorial when you first start the game. And then from there, if they want to expand, they could always just, you know, go to online content creators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, loading screen tips.
Yeah, we can start with that.
You got a key code. You just got a code. You tried to activate it, and it said it was a duplicate. Oh, that's no bueno. Where'd you get the code from? I'm like in a horrible spot right now. Why am I on this side? You got a code from the website? Or you mean like you signed up for a code on the website and you got an email? And they said it was a duplicate. I mean, man. I don't know what to tell you, but if you need another code, I got you. Just DM me on Discord.
Good.
Did you say good?
And
Oh no. We gotta destroy this flyby. Oh, my team is sleeping.
Maybe some automated system got mixed up. We have so many things going.
It's possible.
How many X's did you say, Teemu, that we had with the keys?
How many what?
There must be something mix up or something.
Yeah, there's some mix up with the sign up. If anyone has problems with the key, just contact us or Windu.
We will send you a new one.
Or just hit up Windu. I got you, bro. I'll throw those keys your way, bruh. Say less. I'll throw keys at you like I'm Eli Manning at the Super Bowl. Say less. Damn, I just got pulled. Rip. Why do we have two healers? This is such a bad mix. Somebody just say something. I can barely hear them over the game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. We can't hear your voice.
Music. How about now?
Ooh, loud and clear. Hey, what's up?
Okay, yeah. So, Windu, what is your favorite character so far?
I would have to say Demigod is probably the most unbalanced and fun to play. Like the fact that he has a pull, the fact that he has a pull, a push. He basically has a 360 cleave that he does, and he has pretty good tankiness base stats already. You can literally just sit there and destroy somebody, get away, go grab a little health pot or whatever, Like, he is very forgiving, to say the least.
Yeah, he's a really fun character to play with. Personally, I like the Knight more, but that's
Really?
my personal preference. Yeah.
I just feel with the time to kill right now, and considering the Knight's shield block ability, it definitely puts him at a disadvantage, because with a lot of these other characters, while there's crowd control, they can easily be like inflict hard CC, or I mean hard damage or something like that. With a Knight, I have 0 crowd control. I mean, technically I do have a crowd control, the leap, but the leap is very lackluster, to be honest. Like, the stun effect is good, but besides that, it's a big yikes. The right click is decent amount of damage, but I mean, essentially you're a tank, you're not supposed to be doing damage. It's just, I don't know, like, I feel like for a tank, like, the tank should have either, I would like to see, actually, instead of putting up the shield in front of him, maybe balancing him a little bit more to where as soon as he puts up the shield, he auto buffs the armors for players around him and not minions or towers or whatever.
I see.
So that would actually make his ability a little bit more useful, specifically in team fights. And simultaneously, you can still keep his ult the way it is. His ult is actually pretty decent in a team fight. And his cleave, I mean, his cleave is fine. Just basically some sort of wave clear for him in a way, or just to inflict damage to players. But yeah, like, I think if he had that little change, like if he gave a little armor buff to allies around him as soon as he put his shield up, I think he would be way more valuable in these matches.
Good point. Good point. Thanks for the feedback.
Yeah, for sure. The healer, honestly, she's in a really good spot because she can heal. She can target heal to one individual quite a bit, but not group heal a lot, which is great. Her ultimate ability, the fact that it's an AoE around her, means that she has to get exposed to truly use the full effectiveness of it, which is okay, as well as her blind. So she's honestly in a really good spot as far as, hey, I can help, but if I want to do anything else besides heal, I have to expose myself. And that forces you to be a more skilled player to use her to the full effect. Let me see. The Enchantress, her ultimate is very strong. Her right click, not bad. I definitely think she scales way too much damage off of her basic attack. She definitely should be the type of hero that, hey, like, she's the Enchantress. Her abilities are going to destroy you, but her basics aren't going to do shit unless you build items to buff those basic attacks. Just to keep it a little bit more with, like, you know, the feel of the character and, you know, stats and stuff like that. Because it definitely opens up the opportunity, let's say, for like an archer down the road type of character, where their range, their basic attacks do more damage, but their abilities might not do as much. They might be more utility-based abilities, but those basic attacks and items like, let me see, what's it called? Like vampirism, or, for example, like Quiver, are really going to come into effect on characters like the described archer, whereas Enchantress shouldn't be taking advantage of items like Quiver. Does that make sense? I don't know if I explained that properly.
Yeah. And yeah, we are also missing lots of runes
Yeah.
that are useful for the casters. Like, we were going to make like a spell damage or something that is very useful for the Enchantress, but we just couldn't have we didn't have the time.
Yeah, like a few of those would be cool, like, but like, because the key thing about making items is it's very easy to just make something overtuned, right? Like, if you're gonna make something for casters, something more ideal would be AoE damage increased by 20%. You got me? So it's not applicable always, but if that specific caster does an AoE damage, and, you know, like, it's hitting somebody in the vicinity, it's extra damage to those people in the vicinity, not the target that was directly hit by that item. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just like implementing little things like that, where a caster might see it more beneficial to implement, or Honestly, cooldown, that one cooldown item that you have on there is really good on just about everybody. If you don't run that right now, it's on any character. It's kind of like you're throwing a little bit. So I would possibly say introduce more cooldown items and reduce the cooldown of that one because it is super, super strong.
Okay.
Somebody just wrote, there could be a mission for both defender and attacker, which is visible in the preparation phase. Or why not all the time? Place towers, summon orcs, etc. That's true. You could simply just put in a corner of the UI, like far left, far right. Literally just leave it there. Something in attractive lettering, an attractive color that contrasts everything. Like for example, orange and blue, like we see here. Like, you know, have it for the defender, for the attackers that say summon orcs, summon flag bearers. Oh, you could even have a check mark next to it. So as soon as they do that, they're like, you know what? I actually did something helpful. There's a lot of possibilities. It's just all about implementing it, making it smooth, making it visually appealing, and whether it actually helps or not.
Yeah.
True.
You had one guy asking what the banner does, which could be easily explained in the prep phase. I was about to say, I've been streaming since this morning. I'm still getting people asking me what the banner does. So I definitely get that. I feel like that would be better for like a loading screen thing. Be like, you know, banner blocks incoming projectiles. You can carry the banner or set it down. You can also summon minions with banners that walk up the lane on their own. Choose carefully where to place your banner. Period. Like just like a little sentence
Indeed.
that they can see, or even in the main menu, even just having a learning tab and just having those little tidbits in like squares. Like you see how you have new hero coming soon, but you can't interact with it. If there was a learning tab in the menu and just a little square like that said banner, and then when you click on it, it tells you more about the banner. There's like a little page, even if it's just text document with a nice picture. Or like ogres. What are ogres? Ogres are tankier, and there's a lot of people that do like to see stat values. So, you know, down the road, implementing something in the menu of like, hey, these are basic minion stats. These are ogre stats. These are flag bearer stats. So where people could be like, oh, okay, I get it. So that's why I want to summon him. That's why I want to summon him. Like the flag bearer might not be the tankiest, but he does come with this effect of carrying a banner around. Like just providing the information that's easy to access in the menu is probably one of the key things that could be done. And then from there, it would just be whether people access it or not. But having the information easily accessible is one thing. I've seen a lot of companies post information on their website, post information on their Discord, or post information on their YouTube, which is all nice. But if you're playing the game, the easiest route of information is literally just to have it in the game. Even if it's just a link in the game that leads to elsewhere.
That is so true. So true. Yeah, a friend of mine
GG's, Mango.
actually told me that there should be a link to the PDF of how to play the game in the main menu.
That would be like, it's just like you have on that right side. Interested in news, Steam news, found a bug, report a bug.
Yeah.
Want to learn how to play the game? Question mark. PDF file.
Yeah.
Click here.
Yeah. So easy to implement, I think. I'm not a coder. I'm the animator.
Yeah, like it's and that's probably one of the trickiest things that, you know, being, because I don't do game development myself, of course, but being involved with like so many companies that are doing the game development, it's like you just said, like that seems like something that's simple to do, but we don't necessarily know if it is. And if it is, whether it is or not, the main thing is you got 10 people. Now you got to get somebody to work on that. And while they're working on that, they're not working on something else. So then it becomes process priority. What takes importance and what gets done at what time? And I definitely think that if getting players to come in is the priority, I definitely think improving the onboarding process and improving the new player experience is going to be key, because you're already going to be struggling. Like, we're already struggling, and you're trying to get more players in. But if you get them in, you got to try and keep them in. And those are things that you at least keep them in. Other mechanics and balance and stuff like that, I mean, that's just something you can work on as time goes on. Hey, want me to DM you for a
Well
King
said.
challenge? Who is this? Paragon.
Currently, we have two heroes in pipeline currently. One which is quite heavy class, and then one we call General, which has seen in past, in late our really old tests, hero
Sounds
who
like
can
support based.
summon minions. Yeah, support.
Yeah, but
Support
it's
hero.
looking totally different this time.
Yeah.
Not even a humanoid anymore.
Yeah.
So as far as hero balance and modifiers and stuff like that, we've actually been talking about that for the last hour. They have a vision for what the direction that the game is going to go, but we're definitely making suggestions and ideas and stuff like that. Now, to kind of piggyback off of the whole Frost class, do you guys plan on adding, or would you be open to it, adding elemental type characters down the road? For example, you know, you got the Enchantress, which you could technically say she does like void magic. Would you guys be open to characters that have like frost abilities or, you know, fire abilities, etc.?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, this is actually what Arttu loves so much.
Yeah. Back in the day, if you wanna hear how the Kingshunt was designed, there were actually like many types of elements, and you could basically build, like, take your hero and choose which element it is. But in the
What
end,
is thy
it came out a bit
bidding, my
complicated.
master?
Yeah, we have many stuff currently in the game, so we didn't really want to complicate it too much.
I get that.
Maybe after 5 years.
Is the plan to individually customize towers, barriers, and even minions per character or player a possibility or even a thought that you guys are considering? For example, if I'm an attacker and I summon these minions, are those minions now going to have like my highlighted color for all the players in my team?
Lots of talking and design about how to customize your own characters. Your own characters, your own minions, your own towers, making like your own deck,
Animations and stuff like that.
And of course, you will have your own skins for your own specific minions and your own towers.
Yeah.
So
Basically taking like armor route, so you can add different armors to your minions, so you can see that these guys are yours. And
interesting. So you're the late game goal. I mean, not late game goal. Excuse me. The long-term goal is to eventually be able to have like your own 4 choices that you can go into the game and choose yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
How do you guys feel about that in chat? I like that. So, So when you guys explain things like that, like, it definitely paints the bigger picture, and it definitely, like, you know, gets people like me even more excited as to the possibility of the game, because the variations, the customization and stuff like that, for example, like, for me, is one of the main reasons why I play games. Now, the real question is going to be, we talk about all these things, but like, if we're talking about, let's say 1 being the lowest priority, 10 being the highest priority, where would you put like extra content on the list of priorities at this stage of the alpha? Notice I said that specifically, everybody in chat. At this stage of the game, where is that priority?
I can answer that. At least for now, we have realized that we need more content, more different towers, more different minions to play around, to do different strategies.
Yeah, it's actually a bit complicated to answer, because like, there's the content that you can create easily, and then there's the content that takes lots of time and effort. So for that content that can be done easily, of course, that's a high priority. But making new content from the scratch.
Yeah, so you're saying like a reskin, for example, would be a lot easier, as opposed to creating brand new animations and everything on a new tower and such.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, at least for now, we know that the game works, and at some parts, balance is not perfect, but we're missing heroes, we are missing towers, we are missing minions. So different type of content. So at least for heroes, that's the biggest thing. So let's see how everything goes, but we plan to do the second alpha later this year. Let's see how
Okay.
production goes, but we plan to have the new character to that alpha, but we can't promise that yet.
I gotcha. So you plan on doing another alpha. You plan on doing, you know, having more characters and stuff like that. I mean, which is totally awesome. I would just caution like that conversation that we had earlier, and I'm only repeating it at this point, quite frankly, just so the ones that weren't in chat know about it. We had a conversation earlier as far as the long-term vision of the game and the short-term vision of the game, and you know, we brought up and cautioned like, hey, there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of, you know, metrics and abilities and why this does that much damage that makes sense late and, you know, long term for the game, when there's a huge variety of heroes, huge variety of towers, when there's a variety of minions. But in the current state of the game, some of those values might seem incredibly unbalanced because that lack of variety is there. So that's why one of the things that we brought up is it might be just best to restructure the values, the base stats, etc., to create a much more balanced experience now. And as the game progresses, more heroes get added, more options get added, then slowly tweak from there. Like kind of like taking one step slowly and walking with it instead of running and just looking straight at the finish line, if that makes sense, if that example makes sense.
It does, fully.
Somebody's asking, will there be a way to view characters and cards outside of the actual match itself, but we're still within the game, like in the menu?
Yeah, of course, and you will be able to do your own card decks, of course.
Yeah, customize your layout for the next match, example. But currently we didn't implement that to this alpha, but it's planned for the future.
BD brings up a good point also. In a traditional tower defense game, there's a wide variety of towers also, for example, that do like AoE fire burning, towers that slow, and that's the only purpose that they do. They don't actually do any damage of the sorts. Lightning towers that ricochet lightning static shiv style to enemies that just step within the vicinity, but it's an incredibly short range of the such. Those are all things that could be added. Now the question is, do you want to go that diverse into the towers? Are you open to it?
Yeah, we are open. Arttu here is really big fan of tower defenses, and he might push those things in production.
Yep.
But yeah,
Ideas.
but that's something we need to discuss internally. Do we really want to do those? But those are in the table. You are not the first one who asks.
Oh, I can imagine. But now, you just touched an interesting subject. You're going to discuss those things internally and then choose from there. As far as the decision making goes, is it more of a delegation? Like, do you guys take the majority vote? Is there somebody that has the last say for, you know, certain decisions? Like, you know, like, is there somebody that's in the VFX side that they have the last say, even if other people don't agree with? Or is everything just a community, like, you know, like a delegation, like I was saying? Do you guys just take like majority vote and go with it?
I don't remember the day when we had the vote. We usually just go the like pros and cons, how big thing this is to implement, and usually it's enough to decide if it's worth to try.
I gotcha. So you usually go like delegation wise then, right? Like you bring it up, you guys talk about it, pros and cons, and then you decide as a team?
Yeah, usually when you try to run a company, it's there are some things that you can decide with your team and continue towards that goal when it makes sense, but sometimes there are things that you just need to decide and continue from there, because there's a bigger target that needs to met and needs to be done, and you just can't decide everything by everyone else because it takes time, and sometimes it doesn't really solve the whole question altogether. We try to be democratic, but it doesn't always work if you run the company.
I gotcha. And that's kind of where I was trying to lead the conversation towards as well, because a lot of people don't understand that when it's sometimes it's a good balance. It's a good, healthy thing to have a balance of, hey, we'll make decisions as a team, but then also we're trying to run a company. We're going to make, this is the final decision. Everybody has to be okay with it, respect it, move on forward, etc. This decision lays on the shoulders of this individual, but that is the decision made. We're all going to support it and whatnot. Because a lot of times, if you try to become too, what's the word I want to use here? If you try to be too much of a team player while leading a company, then it gets to the point where there is no I get the last say. This individual makes the last call and whatnot. And at that point, then you can never really have one true direction, because if that does happen, you're literally going to have, these 4 people feel that way. Well, these 6 people feel that way. And if there's a tear between the team itself, and if that's the only way decisions get made, that can cause, honestly, a lot of internal friction. It can cause a lot of harm for the game and the community. But if there is at least an individual or 2, just depending on the department, that have the final say and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to push. Okay, we'll change it later if it's a bad choice. But this is the final call. This is what we're doing. I've seen that as far as businesses go, it can actually run like a better ship and get further in a specific direction when there are the heads of the departments. Does that make sense when I say that?
Yeah, it does. And it's all about the trust in the company and the guys in there. Usually, when you run the company, you need to have the vision for the next 5 years, and you do those things to succeed on that 5 years, and all the smaller decisions you try to take part of that, of course, but sometimes you need to think about the long term and what's the beneficial for the company and take those decisions. And guys who are trusting the leader just need to trust, basically, and trust that this is the correct path, and always listen all the members on the team and ask. It's always important to ask what they think about that and assess from there.
That's true. There's different type of leaders, but a good leader has a combination. They're participative, they're delegative, and all that. So you're totally right. It definitely takes a lot more than just having that final call. I was just wondering, as like a supporter and as a gamer in myself, if that even was an opportunity, because I've seen plenty of companies that they have no person that makes that final decision. Or, for example, the person that makes the final decision on the artwork is the coder. And then you sit here and you're like, why? Why isn't there somebody that is in charge of the art department making those decisions, because he has more knowledge on the art side? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important on that side specifically. Sometimes, example here, me and Arttu are the co-founders of Väki. We have been around really long time working on different things in past, and we know each other really well. And we know our challenges in different fields, and we try to help on those matters in better ways. And of course, we have the discussions, fights, everything. But it's live, and you can build this kind of product by just having fun. It's all about the fights and
Yeah, the difference is
that-
settling on what's best for the
Yeah.
game.
yeah, what's the direction really? But that's life, and that's the challenge with startups.
People are actually asking, is there any way that they can get the background picture in the menu as a high resolution background for the computer? And then somebody else actually mentioned, how hard would it be to create a animated background for the menu? Like, even if it's just like the map with the Guardian sitting there and it like glows or whatever the hell.
Yeah, that's doable. And as for the first question, we will send it to all the alpha participants and as an email after this.
Okay. So you more like a thank you
So
for
it's
participating in the
yeah.
alpha. Here you go.
Yeah.
Ooh, someone's
So
asking.
sign up.
Yeah, someone's asking, are you going to implement not only basic tutorials but advanced tutorials when it comes to the gameplay?
We were like planning to actually do a like YouTube serial for that. Of course, we will add tutorials in game, which will explain the core mechanics, which are important in Kingshunt, but add also YouTube videos about advanced stuff. And that's why we want to work with content creators also, to explaining these things to players, because you know the stuff.
Who's speaking right now?
And
These are the
experience as a new
developers of the
player.
game, Deceiver.
So that's the one thing we will work on with the content creators also.
I mean, that's smart. That's smart because content creators not only have reach, but they almost alleviate the workload for you if they can do it. Now, the issue there would be if you do rely on content creators to create things like that, like tutorials. You still have to stick with the one of the earlier conversations that we have, making the ease of access of said tutorials. So that would mean implementing those tutorials by the content creators in the game in form of links or YouTube playlists that they could go through and look at all that stuff. Because unless you make that information easy to access within the game, like it doesn't matter how many tutorials I make, for example, on YouTube. If only 100 people saw each tutorial, that's a loss. You follow? So that would be a good way to benefit the content creator while simultaneously benefiting you guys. You just implement some sort of easy way to access that content, and then you let the content creators go from there. Of course, still monitoring and you choosing the play, like what video to put in the playlist, etc.
Yeah, of course. Who creates the content needs to understand the content.
And I would say, almost like if you decide to go down that route, definitely not only make sure that the individuals creating the content are, qualified, or that, they represent a good image and stuff like that, of course, as I'm sure you know. But I would say, like, almost like require something from them, because it's one of those things that it's very easy for a content creator to think, hey, I made a tutorial, people are watching it, they're sharing it for me, I'm good, I don't have to do any more content after that. Like they need to understand that if they're going to make content for this specific game and have a partnership like that, that individual needs, like that content creator needs to know that it does come with a caveat. You need to continue to produce content for our game, at least one piece of content per week that meets up to bar standards, or your content will be removed and the slot will be given to somebody else, because there's a million other content creators out there. And content creators can easily get lazy if they feel that connection is already there. You get me?
But nevertheless, these videos would be more in like for their followers and the players who are following you. Example that you can share your expertise to these players, like you are now doing. Example.
Oh no, yeah, like
sharing.
like individual tutorials are still going to be out there. I'm just referring mainly to like as a caution, like if you choose to implement any of those into the game or support those, just to make sure that you have that understanding with the content creator.
Yeah, of course. That's a risk we need to assess when it comes to that and to implement it those.
Chat says they need to require ongoing content. One hand washes the other at a high quality and easy to understand. Do they have any interest in having a competitive scene? Or is this made to be more of a casual game? Is that even in the thoughts?
It is, and Alpha has already shown that there's really talented players, really talented teams that really know the features, and they can really use those features to win the games. And we have seen really great strategies where attackers are rushing the different side of the maps and crushing the defender teams, and also other way around, defenders are reacting the attacking team really well. So the competitive element is there. So we want to also make it better and nurture it as we go further.
Yeah, I would just say it's just taking very careful steps in the right direction. Because as long as you create a good game, the competitive nature is just going to follow it. Like you're going to have that come from it. What I would caution is, like keep on going in the direction that you're going, but like too many games focus on the competitive aspect and then alienate the casual players. Whereas far as if you just continue in the vision that you're trying to achieve, you should be able to please both, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all about community making those competitive games. When you watch like CSGO or LOL, these competitive games are made by the players. Actually, if you watch the history or everything, the players are actually who started the competitive scene there. Of course, the game creators push those things to further, but those players are the main thing. The community is the main thing for the competitive games. Because we as a the game developer, we have the vision of the game, but the player might have the different one. And the competitive scene might have different future for the game and what they want to see and what things we need to polish for them. So that's a really long answer and a really long journey to take with them.
Yeah. It's a very complicated process to please the community while also trying to create the game's identity. Where oftentimes you have to do your best to please the community while you develop the identity, but also kind of just put that foot down and say, hey, this is how we want the game to be. This is what's going to make our game unique. We're just going to give you ways to adapt to that, but we're not changing our direction.
Yep.
You guys got any more questions in chat? Oh, man. But yeah, Cake, I literally just, I joined. I noticed that there were some devs in a voice chat. I joined. I started asking them questions. I've been giving them feedback for probably like 2 hours. And actually, I'm actually going to leave the queue here. You know what? I actually have to get off, stop playing and stream and everything. I got my sister's baby shower to go to. I might be back on afterwards. But
okay.
I just want to say, guys, I appreciate you talking. I appreciate you listening, just having a conversation, letting me bother you here for about an hour or two. And I appreciate just the honest answers. Good looks.
Yeah, thanks, Windu, and
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, for sure, homies.
Working on that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you're all going to do your thing. I appreciate it. If anything, it was a pleasure, and I will see you all around. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
Good night.
Cheers.
Bye.